At the start of Football Manager 2024, you will find Carlos Baleba in Brighton's under-21 squad following his move from Lille. He's 19 years old, contracted to Brighton until 2028, and he's valued at 19.5 to £59 million. He is one of these defensive midfield smasher type players. He can play as a defensive midfielder, a central midfielder and an attacking midfielder too. Looking at some of his attributes, he scores highly for his agility, his pace, his stamina and his strength. In the mentals, he has good determination with 16, teamwork, vision, work rate and bravery all score highly too. In the technicals, it's about his dribbling, crossing, first touch, marking, passing, tackling and technique. He doesn't come with any player traits at the start of the game. He stands at 6 foot tall, so will be a help for defensive and attacking set pieces, and I think he's one that is going to develop nicely as the game goes along. So let's jump forwards 5 years and see what's happening with Carlos Baleba in 2028. It's now 2028, we have jumped 5 years forward and we find Carlos Baleba is still at Brighton. 24 years old now, he has played 47 times for Cameroon and he's valued at 21 to £63 million. Looking at his player development, he hasn't gone on to be a spectacular player, but there is still positive development there. His physicals are now nice and well rounded, with stamina, strength and agility standing out. The mentals, off the ball, determination, decisions and concentration. And in the technicals, first touch, marking, passing, tackling and technique all stand out. His player traits: tries killer balls often, likes to round the keeper, winds up opponents, looks for a pass rather than attempting to score. Looking at his history to see how he has got on at Brighton. So since being at Brighton, he has actually had a few loan moves away. Firstly to Ipswich, where he played 18 games in the Championship, then to Coventry, where he played 43. He played 13 times for Brighton in the Premier League in 25-26 before a loan move back to the Championship with West Brom, where he would play 40 times. Then he went back to France to play for Rennes. He made 25 appearances in that season and he's now back at Brighton. So first team football isn't being found at Brighton. He had to move away to get it. But where will we find him in 2033? It's now 2033 and we find Carlos Baleba is still at Brighton. He's 29 years old, has played 94 times for Cameroon and he's valued at 35 to £105 million. Looking at his playing attributes, it seems like this is one of those players that kind of hit his peak early and has just plateaued the whole way through his career. Not much development really going on, and to me still looks like the same player he was 5 years ago. Look at his playing history to see how much first team football he has received. So once he had been out on loan a couple of times, he came back to Brighton and has actually played first team football now with 21, 28, 29 and 35 appearances. Maybe he could go on to be a late bloomer. Not too sure why with the first team football he's receiving he hasn't pushed on anymore. But we're going to jump forwards 5 more years. Will he still be at Brighton and what will he look like in 2038? It is now 2038 and Carlos Baleba is still at Brighton. We're going to check on him for one last time. He's now 34 years old, 147 appearances for Cameroon. He's valued at 3.8 to £11.5 million. Looking at his attributes, what a steady Eddie. Seems like he peaks quite early, but then he plateaus off and he seems to have retained all of his abilities between 2023 and 2038. There doesn't seem to have been a drop off. There doesn't seem to be a massive improvement, but he does seem to be a consistent player. If we look across his playing history, then he went out on loan earlier on in his career, but since back at Brighton has been a first timer nearly every single season. Across his playing career, 470 games, 18 goals, 48 assists and a 6.95 average career rating. If we look at the milestones to see if he has won anything, fortunately with Brighton being the team that they are, they couldn't get him any medals for English football, but he did have some Cameroon milestones. African Cup of Nations third, African Cup of Nations winners in 2027, third place in 25, and then he made his first international debut down here. If we look at the awards then, He was obviously such a reliable player. He's going to be in the Cameroon and Brighton seasonal best 11. He was shortlisted for African Footballer of the Year in 34-35, but other than that, he has been just consistently in the best 11s for both Brighton and Cameroon. So definitely a steady Eddie player, but one of the most reliable players that I have seen in this game. He just will not let you down. He's pretty much just going to be that player you plug in. He will play consistently well every single season, won't get much better, won't get much worse, and even at the age of 34 he looks exactly like he did in the first season. Right then, if you're still with me at this point of the video, firstly, a big thank you. Secondly, if you could hit the like and subscribe to help the channel out, I really would appreciate it. Cannot thank you all enough for sticking around and supporting the channel. I really do appreciate it. Before you go, don't forget to check out the rest of the channel. There are other Let's Plays, hints, tips, tutorials, Wonder Kids, a bit of something for everybody on the channel. But for this one, I'm going to leave it there. A big thank you for watching. I'll see you on another video very soon.